Hi guys, this is Allison from Alley Creations. How are you? I'm still congested, coughing still. And did you vote? Because I sure did this morning. Hi everybody. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And if you get anything from my work, a connect the dot, an epiphany, a mind explosion, a new book to read, a new author to explore, please consider supporting my work. All the links are at the bottom. Fresh off the molds, and I didn't make big ones. I made like, I would say smallish medium. Got some new pyramids. Big piece of selenite on the bottom there. On this one, I got pyrite on the bottom with selenite. So I'm mixing different stones. I got some copper in there. Fun times. Working like mad. Um, I had a professional development day and I got to sit in for an hour to crystal bowl meditation, sound bath. It was beautiful. And oh, I needed that. Get paid to meditate. That was great. Not that I get paid a lot. Um, so yeah, sorry about yesterday. I have still all right. So before I get into Blavatsky, um, my allergies are exponentially bad. I'm on a lot of supplements, trying to think if the supplements are causing what's going on. I have a humongous rash that is now Sunday, Monday. Okay, 3 days in that I've noticed. It could have been there and now just coming out. Um, it's not really bothering me, but this is still very congested. I'm still coughing, not as much. Been taking the Benadryl, hoping that this goes away, drinking lots of water. I don't know what to do. And mm, I do want to thank Judy and Deborah and Chris for helping me out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My gratitude to you guys. I don't know how many videos you watch or which ones you watch. I'll shout you guys out again on Friday. I'm hoping to get a live in. Haven't heard from the part-time job. They're looking at my application. They're looking at it. So I don't know what's going on yet. I'm doing a lot of this for now. So Blavatsky stanza 6, the evolution of the sweat-born. This shall be very interesting. I don't know how long this stanza is. I didn't go and read, but if we have to cut it in half, I might do it like the last time. Just for the sake if I start coughing a lot or whatever. And today is election day, so I know a lot of people are in neutrality like myself that isn't having an outcome in their head. They're just not thinking about it. They're just going on and whatever happens, happens kind of thing. And that's why I'm putting out a video for you. Um, Yesterday kind of sucked. Just did not feel 100% in even like coughing fits and exhaustion. Um, I had to take more Benadryl at work because it just got because of the kids and the sweat. Like, so sorry about yesterday. Hopefully, though, the rest of the week we're okay. We'll see. The evolution of the three races continued. The second race create the third race and perishes. Then the second evolved the sweat-born, the third race. The sweat grew, its drops grew, and the drops became hard and bound. The sun warmed it, the moon cooled and shaped it. The wind fed it until it ripens. The white swan from the starry vault, the moon, overshadowed the big drop. The egg of the future race, the man swan, Hamza, or the later third, first male, female, then man and woman. The text of the stanza clearly implies that the human embryo was nourished AB extra by cosmic forces, and that the father-mother furnished apparently the germ that ripened, in all probability, a sweat-born egg to be hatched out in some mysterious way disconnected from the double parent. It is comparatively easy to conceive of a oviparous humanity, since even now man is, in one sense, egg-born. Magnidi, moreover, in his Praesis Elementary de Physiology, citing a case where the umbilical cord was ruptured and perfectly cauterized, something to that nature. I don't know how to get that out of my mouth. Yet the infant was born alive. Pertinently asks, how was the circulation carried on in the organ? On the next page, he says, nothing is at present known respecting the use of digestion in the fetus, and respecting its nutrition propounds this query. What then can we say of the nutrition of the fetus? Physiological works contain only vague conjectures on this point. But the skeptic may urge, Magnidi's book belongs to the last generation, and science has since made such strides that his stigma of ignorance can no longer be fixed upon the profession. Indeed, then let us turn to a very great authority upon physiology, Sir M. Foster, and to the disadvantage of modern science, we shall find him saying, concerning the raise and development of the functional activities of embryo, our knowledge is almost a blank. We know scarcely anything about the various steps by which the primary fundamental qualities of the protoplasm of the ovum are differentiated into the complex phenomena which we can attempt in this book to explain. The students of Trin, Call Cantab, will now kindly draw a veil before the statue of another one I can't get out, sorry, and bandage the eyes of the busts of Galen and Hippocrates. Let they look reproachfully at their degenerate descendants. One further fact we must note, Sir M. Foster is discreetly silent about the case of ruptured umbilical cord cited by his great French confrere. This is a very curious statement as explained in the commentaries. To make it clear, the first race, having created the second by budding, as just explained, the second race gives birth to the third, which itself is separated into three distinct divisions consisting of men directly procreated. The first two of these are produced by the oviparous method, presumably unknown to modern natural history, while the early subraces of the third humanity procreated their species by a kind of exudate of moisture or vital fluid, the drops of which coalescing formed an ovum ball, or shall we say egg, which served as an extraneous vehicle for the generation therein of a fetus and child. The mode of procreation by the latter races changed in its result at all events. The little ones of the earlier races were entirely sexless, shapeless, even for all one knows, but those of the later races were born androgynous. It is in the third race that the separation of sexes occurred. From being previously asexual, humanity became distinctly hermaphrodite or bisexual, and finally the man-bearing eggs began to give birth gradually and almost imperceivably in their evolutionary development. First, two beings in which one sex predominated over the other, and finally two distinct men and women. And now let us search for corroboration of these statements in the religious legends of East and West. Let us take the egg-born race first. Think of Kaspaya, the Vedic sage and the most prolific creators. He was the son of March. I'm not going there today, guys. Sorry. Brahma's Marshi, maybe that's how you pronounce it. Brahma's mind-born son, and he is made to become the father of the Nagas or serpents, among other beings. Exoterically, the Nagas are semi-divine beings which have a human face and the tail of a serpent. But there was a race of Nagas said to be 1,000 in number only, born to rather sprung from Kadra, Kaspaya's wife, for the purpose of peopling Palat, however you say that name, which is undeniably America, as well be shown. And there was a Naga Dwepa, one of the 7 divisions of Bharatavarsha, India, inhabited by people bearing the same name, who are allowed, even by some Orientalists, to be historical and to have left many a trace behind them to this day. I had something to say. Oh, yes, sorry. So supposedly, okay, this is just opinion, it's perception, it's probably a potentiality out there. The next sub race, the next major race, because we're the ones bringing in, I'm not, because obviously I don't have children, we're bringing in the next race. So my generation, I don't know if you saw the lights flicker I did in my eyeballs, sorry. The next race is going to be from my generation and the earlier generations, and probably the Gen X as well, are bringing in the next race, right? It's our jobs to prepare these new beings for the next race. But this is going to take a long time, and even maybe the kids now are going to be the kids for the major race. However that's going to come out, I don't know. But in higher density, let's say 5th density, 6th density, let's just say potentiality here, a man and a woman, I know Jason Q is talking about this, will not have to have physicality of sex to have a child. Your child will be a thought form when you align with someone else's energy field and you go through your chakra systems and you both have the same frequency key. Here comes a little baby into the etherical, and then it becomes material, and here's a chid. Supposedly that's talked about, and a lot of different people say similar things, and I kind of believe that that's a potentiality that can happen. That we won't need our physical bodies anymore. It'll be an energy baby. Purely made from 2 individuals, so it's not everybody is going to be able to have kids. You have to find your divine counterpart and have the same frequency and be in utter alignment with love and unconditional love and everything. And there will be a process that you do that you 2 hone in on each other, and then whoop, a baby might be made. It's a potential, and I think that's really cool. I mean, I don't know if they'll take the physicality out of lovemaking, but who knows? Now, the point most insisted upon at present is that whatever origin be claimed for man, his evolution took place in this order, sexless, as all the earlier forms are. Then, by a natural transition, he became a solitary hermaphrodite, a bisexual being, and finally separated and became what he is now. Science teaches us that all the primitive forms, through sexless, still retain the power of undergoing the process of asexual multiplication. Why then should man be excluded from the law of nature? Bisexual reproduction is an evolution, a specialized and perfected form on the scale of matter of the Fisparius act of reproduction. Occult teachings are preeminently panspermic, and the earlier history of humanity is hidden only from ordinary mortals, nor is the history of primitive races buried from the initiates in the tomb of time, as it is for profane science. Therefore, supported on the one hand by the science which shows to us progressive development and an internal cause for every external modification as a law in nature, and on the other hand by an implicit faith in the wisdom, we may say, Pansophia, even of the universal traditions gathered and preserved by the initiates who have perfected them into an almost faultless system. Thus supported, we venture to state the doctrine clearly. In an able article written some 15 years ago, our learned and respected friend, Professor Alex Weiler of New York, shows the absolute logic and necessity of believing the primeval race double-sexed and gives a number of scientific reasons for it. He argues, firstly, that a large part of vegetable creation exhibits the phenomenon of bisexuality. The Linnean classification enumerating thus almost all plants. This is the case in the superior families of the vegetable kingdom, as much as in the lower forms, from the hemp to the Lombardy polar and Eltheus. In the animal kingdom and insect life, the moth generates a worm, as in the Mysteries, the great secret was expressed. Taurus draconum, I can't read the rest of that beautiful Latin. The coral-producing family, which according to Agassiz, I don't know how to say that either, has spent many hundreds of thousands of years during the present geological period in building out the peninsula of Florida, produce their offspring from themselves like the buds and ramifications in a tree. Bees are somewhat in the same line. The aphids, or plant lice, keep house like Amazons, and virgin parents perpetuate the race for 10 successive generations. What say the old sages, the philosopher teachers of antiquity? Astrophanes, Phanes, whatever, speaks thus on the subject in Plato's Banquet. Our nature of old was not the same as it is now. It was androgynous, the form and name partaking of and being common to both the male and female. Their bodies were round, and the manner of their running circular. They were terrible in force and strength, and had prodigious ambition. Hence Zeus divided each of them into two, making them weaker. Apollo, under his direction, closed up the skin. Mesha and Meshi were but a single individual with the old Persians. They also taught that man was the product of a tree of life, growing in androgynous pairs till they were separated at a subsequent modification of the human form. In the Tolduth generation of Adam, the verse God created, bara, brought forth man in his image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. If read esoterically, will yield the true sense. The Elohim, gods, brought forth from themselves by modification. Man in their image created they him. Collective humanity, or Adam, male and female, created he, collective deity, them. This will show the esoteric point that the sexless race was their first production at modification of and from themselves, the pure spiritual existence, and this was Adam's solus. Thence came the second race, Adam, Eve, or Yad Heva, in active androgynes, and finally the third, or the separating hermaphrodite, Cain and Abel, who produced the fourth, Seth, Enos. It is that third, last semi-spiritual race, which was also the last vehicle of the divine and innate wisdom, ingenerate in the Enochs, the seers of the mankind. The fourth, which has tasted from the fruit of the tree of good and evil, wisdom united already into earthly, and therefore impure intelligences, has consequently to acquire that wisdom by initiation, great struggle, and the union of wisdom and intelligence, the former ruling the latter, is called in the Hermetic books the God possessing the double fecundity of the two sexes. Mystically, Jesus was held to be man-woman. See also in the Orkic hymns, yms, nins, sung during the mysteries, we find Zeus is a male. Zeus is an immortal maid. The Egyptian Ammon was the goddess Nith. In his other half, Jupiter, his female breast, Venus is bearded in some of her statues, and Illa, the goddess, is also Su Dainuma, the god, as a very long name starting with the V, progeny. Like I said, I am not frustrating myself today, guys, and I can barely get out what I want to get out. Love my allergies. The name Adam, says Professor A. Wilder, or man itself, implies the double form of existence. It is identical with Athamas or Thomas, which is rendered by the Greek Dudamos, a twin. If thereby the first one was formed subsequently to the first man, she must, as a logical necessity, be taken out of man, and the side which the Elohim had taken from man made he a woman. The Hebrew word here used is talzala, whatever, which bears the translation we have given. It is easy to trace the legend to Burroughs, who says that Talith was the beginning of creation. She was also Melita, the queen of the moon. The two twin births of Genesis, that of Cain and Abel, and Esau and Jacob, shadow the same idea. The name Hebel is the same as Eve, and its characteristic seems to be feminine, continues the author. Unto thee shall be his desire, said the Lord God to Cain, and thou shalt rule over him. The same language had been uttered to Eve. Thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Thus, the pristine bisexual unity of human third root race is an axiom in the Secret Doctrine. Its virgin individuals were raised to gods because that race represented their divine dynasty. The moderns are satisfied with worshiping the male heroes of the fourth race, who created gods after their own sexual image, whereas the gods of primeval mankind were male and female. As stated in Book 1, the humanities developed coordinately and on parallel lines with the four elements, every new race being physiologically adapted to meet the additional element. Our fifth race is rapidly approaching the fifth element, call it interstellar ether, if you will, which has more to do, however, with psychology than the physics. Yes. We men have learned to live in every climate, whether frigid or tropical, but the first two races had naught to do with climate, nor were they subservient to any temperature or change therein. And thus we are taught men live down to the close of the third root race, when eternal spring reigned over the whole globe, such as is now enjoyed by the inhabitants of Jupiter, a world, says M. Flammeren, who is not subject like our own to the vicissitudes of seasons, nor to abrupt alterations of temperature, but which is enriched with all the treasures of eternal spring. Thus, those astronomers who maintain that Jupiter is a molten condition in our sense of the term are invited to settle their dispute with the learned French astronomer. It must, however, be always borne in mind that the eternal spring referred to is only a condition cognized as such by the Jovians. It is not spring as we know it. In this reservation, it is to be found the reconciliation between the two theories here cited. Both embrace partial truths. It is thus a universal tradition that mankind has evolved gradually into its present shape from almost transparent condition of texture, and neither by miracle nor by sexual intercourse. Moreover, this is in a full accord with the ancient philosophies, from those of Egypt and India, with their divine dynasties, down to that of Plato. And all these universal beliefs must be chased and classed with the presentiments and obstinate conceptions, some of them in can't get that word out. In popular faith, such beliefs, as remarked by Louis Figuier, are frequently the outcome of the wisdom and observation of an infinite number of generations of men. For a tradition which has an uniform, universal existence has all the weight of scientific testimony. And there is much more than one such tradition in the Puranic allegories, as has been shown. Moreover, the doctrine that the first race of mankind was formed out of the Chilas, astral images of the Pitris, is fully collaborated in the Zohar. In the shadow image of Elohim, the Pitris was made out of man. It has been repeatedly urged as an objection that, however high the degree of metaphysical thought in ancient India, yet the old Egyptians had nothing but crass idolatry and zoolatry to boast of. Hermes, as alleged, being the work of mystic Greeks who lived in Egypt. To this one answer can be given. A direct proof that the Egyptians believed in the secret doctrine is that it was taught to them at initiation. Let the objectors open the, I don't know that, can't read that. It's Greek. A compiler of ancient fragments who lived in the 5th century AD. The following is a transcription by him of an old Hermetic fragment. Shown in the Egyptian theory of the soul, translated word for word, it says, quote, from one soul that all spring all the souls, which spread themselves as if purposely distributed through the world. These souls undergo many transformations. Those which are already creeping creatures turn into aquatic animals. From these aquatic animals are derived land animals, and from the latter the birds. From the beings who lived aloft in the air, heaven, men are born. On reaching that status, men, the souls, receive the principle of conscious immortality, become spirits, then pass into the choir of gods. Very interesting right there. I do apologize, guys. I'm going to sage my space. I have a lot of energy. I don't know if it was the crystal ball meditation I did today in the mindfulness class I took. I don't know. I see lots of flashing lights. I don't know if you could see them. I'm gonna go sage and take a Benadryl. I am very hived and itchy. So I'll be right back. Hang on. Okay, I have kitties scattering all over the place. I hope they see something in their killing spirit. Sorry about that, everybody. I took a Benadryl. Hopefully everything is okay. Trying to figure this out. Allergies suck. Let's move on. The self-born were the Shayas, the shadows from the bodies of the sons of twilight. Neither water nor fire could destroy them. Their sons were so destroyed. This verse cannot be understood without the help of the commentaries. It means that the first root race, the shadows of the progenitors, could not be injured or destroyed by death. Being so ethereal and so little human in constitution, they could not be affected by any element, flood, or fire. But their sons, the second root race, could be and were so destroyed. As the progenitors merged wholly in their own astral bodies, which were their progeny, so the progeny was absorbed in its descendants. The sweat-born These were the second humanity, that composed of the most heterogeneous, gigantic, semi-human monsters, the first attempts of material nature at building human bodies, the ever-blooming lands of the second continent, Greenland, among others, were transformed in order for Edens with their eternal springs into Hyperborea, Hades. This transformation was due to the displacement of the great waters of the globe to oceans, changing her beds. And the bulks of the second race perish in this first great throw of the evolution of consolidation of the globe during the human period. Of such great cataclysms, there have already been 4, and we may expect a 5th for ourselves in due course of time. I hope not. A few words about deluges and Noahs, plural. The accounts in the various Puranas about our progenitors are as contradictory in their details as everything else. Thus, while in the Rig Veda, Ida, or Illa, is called the instructress of Vas, that long name with the V, Manu, Sayana, makes of her goddess presiding over the earth, and the Sathprath, that name, Brahma, shows her to be the Manu's daughter, an offering of his sacrifice, and later on, his, that V name, wife, by whom he begot the race of Manas. In the Puranas, again, she is the V name, daughter, yet the wife of Buddha, wisdom, the illegitimate son of the moon, Soma, and the planet Jupiter's wife, Tara. All this, which seems a jumble to the profane, is full of philosophical meaning to the occultist. On the very face of the narrative, a secret and sacred meaning is perceivable, all the details, however, being so purposely mixed up that the experienced eye of an initiate alone can follow them and place the events in their proper order. The story, as told in the Mahabharata, strikes the keynote, and yet it needs to explain by the secret sense contained in the Bhagavad Gita. It is the prologue to the drama of our 5th humanity. While that V name was engaged in devotion on the riverbank, a fish craves his protection from a bigger fish. He saves and places it in a jar. While growing larger and larger, it communicates to him the news of the forthcoming deluge. It is well known, Matsya avatar, the first avatar of Vishnu, the Dagon of the Chaldean Ichthyrus, and many other things besides. The story is too well known to need repetition. Vishnu orders a ship to be built in which Manu is said to be saved along with the 7 rishis, the latter, however, being absent from the text. Here, the 7 rishis stand for the 7 races, the 7 principles, and various other things, for there is again a double mystery involved in the manifold allegory. We have said elsewhere that the Great Flood had several meanings, and that it referred, as also does the fall, to both spiritual and physical, cosmic and terrestrial events, as above, so below. The ship or ark, navis, in short, being the symbol of the female generative principle, is typified in the heavens by the moon and on earth by the womb, both being the vessel and bearers of the seeds of life and being, which the sun or Vishnu and the male principle vivifies and fructifies. The first cosmic floods refer to primordial creation, or the formation of heaven and the earths, in which case chaos and the great deep stand for the flood, and the moon for the mother, from whom proceeded all the life germs. But the terrestrial deluge and its story has also its dual application. In one case, it has referred to the mystery when mankind was saved from utter destruction by the mortal woman being made the receptacle of the human seed at the end of the 3rd race, and in the other to the real and historical Atlantean submersion. In both cases, the host, or the Manu, which saved the seed, is called that long V name Manu. Hence the diversity between the Puranic and other versions, while in the Sathapatha Brahma, V word produces a daughter and begets from her the race of Manu, which is a reference to the first human Manushas who had to create women by will before they were naturally born from the hermaphrodites as an independent sex, who were therefore regarded as their creator's daughters. The Puranic accounts make of her Ida or Illa, the wife of Buddha, wisdom, the latter version referring to the events of the Atlantean flood, when that long V name, the great sage on earth, saved the fifth root race from being destroyed along with the remnants of the fourth. This is shown very clearly in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is made to say, quote, the seven great rishis, the four preceding Manus, partaking of my essence, were born from my mind. From them sprung, were born the human race and the world, end quote. Here, the four preceding Manus out of the seven are the four races which have already lived, since Krishna belongs to the fifth race, his death having inaugurated the Kali Yuga. Thus, that long V name, Manu, the son of Saraya, the son, the savior of our races, is connected with the seed of life, both physically and spiritually. But at present, while speaking of all, we have concerned ourselves only with the first two. The deluge is undeniably a universal tradition. Glacial periods were numerous, and so were the deluges for various reasons. Stockwell and Kroll enumerate some half-dozen glacial periods and subsequent deluges, the earliest of being dated by them 850,000, and the last about 100,000 years ago. But which was our deluge? Assuredly the former, the one which to this date remains recorded in the tradition of all the peoples from the remotest antiquity, the one that finally swept away the last peninsulas of Atlantis, beginning with Ruta and Dayuta, and ending with the comparatively small island mentioned by Plato. This is shown by the agreement of certain details in all the legends. It was the last of its gigantic character. The little deluge, the traces of which Baron Bunsen found in Central Asia, which he places at about 10,000 years BC, had nothing to do with either the semi-universal deluge or Noah's flood, the latter being a purely mythical rendering of an old tradition, nor even the submersion of the last Atlantean island, at least only a moral connection. Our fifth race, not initiated portions, hearing of many deluges, confuse them, and now know of but one. This one altered the whole aspect of the globe in its interchange and shifting of land and sea. We may compare traditions of the Peruvians, the Incas, 7 in number, have repeopled the earth after the deluge. They say Humboldt mentions the Mexican version of the same legend, but confuses somewhat the details of the still preserved legend concerning the American Noah. Nevertheless, the eminent naturalist mentions twice 7 companions and divine bird, which preceded the boat of the Aztecs, and thus makes 15 elect instead of the 7 and the 14. This was written probably under some involuntary reminiscence of Moses, who is said to have mentioned 15 grandsons of Noah who escaped with their grandsire. They again, I don't know how to pronounce that name. The Chaldean Noah is saved and translated alive to heaven like Enoch, with the 7 gods, the Kaburim, or the 7 divine titans. Again, the Chinese Yao has 7 figures which sail with him, and which he will animate when he lands and use for human seed. Osiris, when he enters the ark or solar boat, takes 7 rays with him. this very long name I can't pronounce makes the Titans contemporary with the great Phoenician god. Again, I am not pronouncing names. I'm not embarrassing myself here. Who Faber sought to identify with Noah. Further, is suspected that the name of Titan is derived from Tit-An, the fountains of the chaotic abyss. And thus the Titans, who are 7, are shown to be connected with the flood and the 7 rishis saved by the long V named Manu. They are the sons of Kronos, time, and Rhea, the earth. And as Argurus, whoever, Saturn, and some other name are one and the same personage. And as the 7 Cabri are said to be the sons of the Kronos Saturn, the Cabri and Titans are identical. For one, the pious Faber was right in his conclusion when he wrote, I have no doubt of the 7 Titans and Cabri being the same as the 7 rishis of the Hindu mythology, who are said to have escaped in a boat along with Manu, the head or the family. But he is less fortunate in his speculations when he adds the Hindus in their wild legends have variously perverted the history of the Noah. Not getting that out. Yet it is remarkable that they seem to have religiously adhered to the number 7. Hence, Captain Colonel Wilford very judiciously, see, can't get that word out either, observes that perhaps the 7 Manus and the 7 Brahmanikas and the 7 rishis are the same and make only 7 individual persons. The 7 Brahmanikides, I don't know if I'm saying that right, were something lords of the prajas or creatures. From them mankind was born, and they are probably the same with the 7 Manus. These 7 grand ancestors of the human race were created for the purpose of replenishing the earth with inhabitants. And Faber adds that the mutual resemblance of the Cabris, the Titans, and the Rishis, and the Noahic family, too striking to be the effect of mere accident. Faber was led into the mistakes and subsequently built his entire theory concerning the Cabri on the fact that the name of the scriptural, oh no, what did I do? Japhet is on the list of the Titans contained in a verse of the Orphic hymns. According to Orpheus, the names of the 7 Archetype Titans, whom Faber refuses to identify with impious Titans, their descendants were, I can only, Kronos, Oceanos, Hyperion, and some other names that I cannot pronounce. I'm sorry, guys. I am doing my best. I despise a lot of things that I can't pronounce or project in words out of my mouth. It is hellishly annoying. I'm actually going to leave this here because I don't need, my blood pressure is spiking any further. Because it does go on and on and on, like the other one. So just writing this down so I don't forget for the next time. Um, so for next time we will continue. I do apologize, guys. I'm having my whole neck is itchy. I'm gonna go take a shower and get some supplements in me, and hopefully I start feeling better. I am not revealing my rash. It's on my tummy and my back, but it's really itchy, which I haven't had yet. So I don't know what's going on. It's also downpouring outside. Fun times. Sending each and every one of you love, like compassion, grace, shielding, and protective energy. Please go within. Be the shoulders. Be the lighthouse. Seed your truths. And know whatever outcome is going to happen for a reason. It's God's divine plan. Just let things go and don't fight or resist what goes on. Just go with the flow. Be the flow. Be the light. I'm a mess. And thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming, and my gratitude to everybody who helps me out. You guys rock. And until the next one, guys, have a blessed and beautiful day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.